Great job on this course. I did take a look at the course map and I've already reviewed your run. Very nice job handling. I like all of your choices. We will go over those two spots. I like this lead out here because it's a great way to pull your dog here. This jump is both very close and wingless and kind of in so that the dog is definitely going to see it first. So I really like the use of decel here. I think your other choice, if you had to run through it and you were not able to remain here without losing some kind of advantage, handling advantage, is to go ahead and use your bypass cue. So either of those. Anytime I'm doing that discrimination, those are always my two options. And I always think about which one do I want to use more. I do like the decel here in this spot. I think you do a really nice job of driving your dog forward into the tunnel here. Reorienting for the triple. Slowing down here for this turn. I think that's nice. I think this is good because you can definitely get a situation where, especially on a wingless, the dog can run right around that wingless jump. And the long serp here, the serpentine handling and cue, is going to draw your dog right in there. You do a great job of opening back up, so you're no longer holding the serp position, so the dog's going to take it on the left arm. Now here you're just not quite far enough ahead. So you have to know that if the dog is right next to you, and in this situation your dog is right next to you, like here your dog is literally next to you. I can draw a line. You know, the dog is not ahead of you, the dog is not behind you, the dog is literally right next to you. So naturally the dog is going to curl towards you even as you drive this way because they know that a tunnel is coming next. And so whether they curl this way or this way, the angle, and we're looking at the angle here between these two lines, is too small. It's too fine of a discrimination for the dog. So, you know, as humans, we look at the two tunnel entrances, and even the two tunnel entrances are a little bit close, but we say, oh, well, those are far enough apart, the dog should be able to tell. But the angle of approach the dog's going to take, if you look back here and here, that difference is very, very small. It's not big like over here between the tunnels. It's actually very, very small. And so, you know, there's kind of two answers here. Answer number one is the dog needs to become a little bit stronger at reading your acceleration and deceleration cues in this specific scenario. And what that means is you're going to have to set up a jump, you're going to have to set up a tunnel, and you're going to have to work this. And you're going to start by being ahead of your dog. So if your dog's landing here, you're going to be ahead, and then you're eventually going to do it until you can handle this from behind. So let's say you were stuck over here and the dog is actually ahead of you. I would argue that if you were in that situation at this trial, your dog's going to take obviously the wrong end. But there are going to be scenarios where you are going to be behind. And as long as you're accelerating, running on a straight line this way, the dog should never cut across your body. The dog should constantly parallel your motion until you rotate your shoulder and or slow down. And so this is going to take some work. So let's take a look at your body language. Do we see any slowing down in rotation? I would argue that your dog is turning even before you start to rotate, because here you do rotate slightly, you extend the arm, and that actually kicks your dog back out. So I think your body language is pretty good, it's pretty clean, but you can see the dog is just curling and committing to this tunnel right here. And it's your good acceleration that enables the dog to kick out and understand that he's not quite right. So what I'm saying is, this is probably a scenario, and just looking at this course, that you're just not going to see very often, especially in AKC trials. I really like the design of this course. It's challenging. And this might be something you see at nationals. And these are spots where at international team tryouts, people struggle with this. So I think you just need more practice in this specific scenario. You handled it 100% fine. The dog's response is going to change the more times you do this. So once you've done this 100 times, and 100 times you didn't stop, and 100 times that meant take this way, the dog is no longer going to do that. They're not going to commit to the wrong end first. So the real question for you is, how do you get the dog here? So probably or possibly in the past you would hang back, slow down, and then rotate your shoulders. But for our new style of handling, the way we make this really clear is to do throttle handling. So what we say is the dog should be on a natural line for this jump, and so to pull them into this one, we need to use the throttle. The opposite arm, we need to turn our chest toward the dog, and then we throttle the dog in. So then once the dog understands in this situation, 100% of the time, they need to see an opposite arm to take this in. They know if they never see an opposite arm, they should always take the other end. Why would we bother to do that? Well, because now you can handle it when you're really far behind. So they just look for the opposite arm or not opposite arm. But if you don't have that arm difference and we're just relying on whether you slow down and rotate, then you have to be in the proper position. You have to be up here in order to kick them around the body. You have to hang back here in order to pull them into this end. And so that's why we feel that throttle handling is very useful in these tunnel discriminations. Okay, next thing is the weave entry. Again, I think you handled it pretty well. I think some people might say rather than pointing your chest this way at pole number 1, you almost want to point your chest at this wing, the wing on this wingless. That may help your dog get in. But the fact of the matter is this is a very uncommon way to enter the weave poles in all levels of agility, and the most difficult one. So this is what I call a soft side entry, right, with dog on right. So soft side, the easy way is to always wrap around the first pole. The first pole is like a visual and physical guide into the weaves. But when you're coming here, the dogs aren't quite sure if they're coming around this pole here or in the middle. Like suddenly there looks like there's a lot more options. The criteria is much less clear from the soft side. And so this is all soft side entries. And the other side for most dogs is the easier approach. Okay, so soft side is tough. Now you're making it even tougher because as the handler you're on the left. So when you're on the right, you can drive toward pole number 2 or in between 2 and 3, and that creates only enough room between 1 and 2 for the dog to go in. So you kind of help guide them in. But when you're on the left side, you're not really taking anything away from the dog, right? They still have every window available to them. They can come between any sets of these poles. You're not helping limit their options. And so that's why when you have a soft side entry and you're on the dog's left side, whether you run around this way or rear across the dog, that doesn't really matter. The entry and staying in the weaves is extra difficult. So this is just something that needs work. In my opinion, it's not something that you mishandled per se here. This is just an experience thing. This is Gitchy's worst weave entry, and this is the one set of weaves I think she missed at tryouts this year. She used to be a pretty good weaver, but was this entry. And then everything else, beautiful. Really, I love the decel here. A lot of people aren't going to decel here, but I love that. It's going to create the beautiful turn. So if we look at it, you're planted, foot down, right, left, right, and then the left power step. Beautifully done, setting the line for the slice. Beautifully executed. That's a decel followed by a front cross. Beautifully done. Textbook. Nice job of running out. You did let up a little bit here at the end, so I just wanted to point that out. You are slowing down a little bit. You're a little more upright here. So your dog kind of pops over that finish. So make sure you are careful about running all the way through so you don't knock that last bar. Beautifully done run. If you have any questions about those 2 points, definitely let me know. And you can go back in the academy, in the website, you'll need to log in under the Shape Up Foundation, go to the discussion about throttles, and scroll down for the tunnel throttle discussion, and that's how you can change that part. So if you really want to iron that out, that's what you would do.